Hey, Pam, good to see you. Joe Cage, good to see you online. I'm not seeing any of my own video here, so hopefully I am broadcasting in one form or another. So if you can see video, give me a thumbs up or give me a like. If you can't see the video, let me know as well. So, hey, Sid, good to see you. And welcome to Chapter 8 of Get Out the Door. Happy to welcome you to this Facebook Live and to talk about what has just been posted. This chapter is kind of interesting because I got settled into the hospital, and it talks about kind of the routine of getting into what it was like to be in the hospital and going through all the normal things that, or less than normal things, that became normal as part of the hospital stay. So that was quite an experience. I get a little bit more personal in this one, a little bit more graphic. So if you're easily offended, sorry, trying to be as delicate as I can about the real experiences. But it was quite the experience. And as of last week, it was 15 years ago that all that happened. Hi, Marie. Good to see you. And so if you're following the story along, you've had the surgery, going through rehab, and getting into the swing of things as being part of the rehab hospital. This weekend, or this past week from Tuesday to yesterday, I have a visitor here. So everybody say hi to Toby. I forgot to close the door. I was at the Chet Atkins Appreciation Society International Convention in Nashville, Tennessee. And if you don't know what that is, it's a bunch of guitar players getting together from all over the world. And what was interesting to me, hey, Rick, good to see you. Glad you could join us. What was interesting to me was just where all these guitar players came from and how far they came to play guitar with other people. And thinking about how good some of these younger players are. And even though I've been playing guitar for probably 40 years now, these guys at 17 and 18 have already outstripped my ability. So I thought about how does that relate to the whole get out the door journey. And one of the things I thought about was that just because somebody is in a different place than you in your journey doesn't mean that the journey isn't worth starting, because you shouldn't judge yourself against what somebody else is doing. Judge yourself by the decisions that you make and how far you've come from where you used to be. And you can't really know how far you've come until you look back and see just how far that is. Hey, Rosalie, good to see you. So think about that. I also thought about that on the drive back. I was a 10-hour drive from Nashville back to D.C., and this cat might have to go. A 10-hour drive back to D.C., and I had a lot of time in the car to think about that journey and how far it's been. Because it's hard to imagine what it was like to learn to walk again, because I walk every day and I really don't think about it. And that's kind of how we live our lives, is we don't think about the things that we do on a normal basis until something happens, those things get taken away. And then you have to deal with, okay, how do I get back to where I want to go? So those are things that I thought about. Other news that's going on, I did finish the first draft of the entire book last week. And it's in what they call beta reading right now, where I have a bunch of people reading the book, the entire book, to give me feedback on the overall story, to see are there things that are missing, things that aren't clear, things that aren't valuable for the reader. So if you have comments about the book, about the story, about things that may not be clear to you, let me know here. So write a comment here or go to www.hollyworks.com and put the comments there, because I do read all the comments. I do respond to all the comments as much as I can. And my goal is to make this a better story for everybody. Hey, Kenny, good to see you. You've had quite the journey yourself, and glad to see you join us tonight. So I thought about, hey, Kathy, good to see you. Kathy Osheim, who just joined, she's been giving me guidance on how to make this the best book it can possibly be. So I'm glad that she was able to join us tonight. And I don't know what you're doing, Kat. But I thought about that journey from 2004 to 2014, and then the journey from there to here. And what value does that have to the reader? I had a comment this weekend that said, is this a true story? Because I think they thought I was writing a novel. And in some ways, it does have some of the elements of a novel because it is a story. It has a plot line. It has conflict. It has drama. It has things that happen that set the lead character back that they have to overcome. But it is a true story. And I think true stories are usually the most interesting anyway. Hey, Eileen, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. But if you have things in your life that you would like to talk about. Hey, Brad, good to see you. Hey, congratulations, Brad, on finishing your triathlon. That's quite an achievement. And hopefully the hot weather there in Muncie didn't get you down, but congratulations on that. And for those who have goals that they're going after, the hardest thing is not to go after the goal. The hardest thing is to get started. And to take it back to the point I made when I first came on, is everybody is on a different path than you are. And whether they're ahead of you or behind you isn't nearly as important as just getting started and moving forward. Yeah, Kathy, I would agree. True stories seem to be stranger than fiction. One of the things I say about this story is it's an incredible story and it happens to be true. And I'm trying to be as accurate as I can going back 15 years and relating those facts. So I've had to go back and talk to people who went through that time with me and ask them, am I being factual on this? Because I do want to have an interesting story, but above all else, I want it to be true. And then I want it to be valuable for the people who might come along and read it later. So those are things that I thought about this week. I hit the end of another journey today. A lot of you know that I'm in Toastmasters. I've been in Toastmasters for about 6 years. And if you want to improve your speaking skills, Toastmasters is probably the best place on the planet to do that. It's a place that is easy to get started. It's easy to step out of your comfort zone. It's a safe place to make mistakes. And in my 6 years in Toastmasters, I've made a lot of mistakes. But today, I got my Distinguished Toastmaster plaque in the mail. And so that is the culmination of that 6-year journey. Hey, Aaliyah, good to see you. A lot of my high school friends are joining, which is great. And I'm now festooned in cat hair, so that's part of my mistake for leaving the door open. So if you have questions about the story, about my journey, about the book, about its development, feel free to let me know at david@hollyworks.com, on the website hollyworks.com, or here on Facebook. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I look forward to telling you what the next chapter is. In chapter 9, I start to get into the details of what I did in physical therapy. And it was quite challenging. In fact, I'm going through physical therapy again now because one of the outgrowths of having the accident 15 years ago is I've had to rebuild strength in my left leg, and I'm having to work on that again. And PT is not easy. But it is something that's necessary if you want to be better on. Thank you, Kathy. If you want to be better, then where you were yesterday. So nothing about this is easy. If anybody tells you something worth having is easy, I would look the other direction, because sometimes the answers are simple, that you have to do X, Y, Z to get from point A to point B. See you later, Kathy. To get from point A to point B doesn't mean that it's easy, because very few things that are really worth having just happen. You usually have to put forth some significant effort to get there. So that's pretty much the news for today. I appreciate you coming out. If you want to keep up to date on the chapters, go to www.hollyworks.com and put your email address in and hit subscribe. And that will get you into automatic notifications for every chapter as it drops. I'll be putting new chapters up on there every week. And I'll be coming back here for the next few weeks to give you an update on the development of the book. Yeah, Pam, my sister says, yeah, PT is torture. It's torture, but it's torture with a purpose. So if you want to go somewhere, the hardest thing is not the journey from point A to point B. The hardest thing is to get out the door. After that, everything else is easy. We'll see you next week.